them secretly. Now, opposition leader Peter Dutton has hit back at Labor's proposed superannuation shake-up, warning Australians their retirement savings are under attack. Pre-election, Labor promised not to make any changes to super. It's now saying that tax concessions on super are simply not sustainable. Albanese insists this is not a broken election promise.
If you've worked hard and you've put your own money aside into superannuation, you don't want the government changing the rules and taxing it, effectively retrospectively. People might have had a windfall from a house sale, they might have inherited some money, they might have sold their small business and rolled that money into superannuation. In that scenario, if they've invested in shares or in a portfolio which has gone up significantly in value, they've done it according to the rules.
Let's bring in our star panel today to discuss this, welcoming the editor of the Saturday and Sunday Courier Mail, Anna Caldwell in Queensland, and Labor MP for Parramatta and former senior economist to PM Kevin Rudd, Andrew Charlton. So terrific to have both of you here today, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts on all of this. Anna, starting with you, how concerned do you think Australians are about these proposed changes to superannuation?
Hi, Sharri. Great to be here with you. I think the issue is in the need for clarity and the need for really crisp, clear messaging from the government on this. I think there's a huge amount of confusion among Australians over this issue. I think broadly people have heard in the news that, you know, the government's targeting their super again, perhaps coming after their money. And I think people need answers. You know, the government might have a story to tell on this. They might have an argument to mount. But at the moment, I think people are confused and are concerned. And I think the government owes them some clarity on that, particularly in the current climate where, you know, people are worrying about every dollar. They're worrying about the cost of living. They're worrying about their future. I think they need some clarity.
Andrew, I want to get your reaction to Peter Dutton's comments there. And also, I mean, you've listened to Talkback Radio. People say this is a broken election promise and they're furious about it.
Well, great to be with you, Sharri, and congratulations on your new show.
Thank you so much.
Look, this is an effort to safeguard the future of super, not to change the rules on people. The rules were changed on people over the last 3 years when the Morrison government ripped a hole in the bottom of super and during the pandemic allowed $36 billion to flow out and raised taxes on super. So this is about our need for a national conversation about what super is for, so that we can protect it against every harebrained idea to hypothecate it to housing or education or any other brain explosion that the government might have at any point in time. This is about making sure we know what super is for and protecting it for that purpose.
Do you think there should be this discussion, though, first, as you say, a debate first, before these tax concession changes are made? Or legislated?
Absolutely, and that is what the Treasurer has announced. A national consultation on the purpose of superannuation, what it's for and what it's not for. You know, let's remember that superannuation for most people is their second most important asset after their home. And for our nation, it's a $3 trillion savings pool. So it's grown to become incredibly important in our lives. It plays a huge role in providing people with dignity and security in their retirement. And this is a conversation to make sure that we stay focused on that goal and preserve superannuation for its intended purpose.
Okay. The RBA Governor, Phil Lowe, has warned again of multiple more rate hikes. It feels like we're hearing this news every day at the moment. Andrew, a lot of your colleagues have been critical of the RBA for misleading Australians by encouraging them to take out mortgages, saying there'd be no rate rise until 2024. As an economist, I'm really interested in your view on Phil Lowe's record.
Well, you know, you're right that, you know, many Australians, particularly people in my electorate, are really doing it tough. Many of them took up home loans, relying on the governor's statement that interest rates would stay low right through 2024, and now they're finding themselves paying an extra $500, $1,000, even more a month that they simply can't afford. You know, we had the opportunity in the Economics Committee of Parliament last week to ask Governor Lowe why he made that statement. And in his answer, he took us back to that time. He said it was a very dark time for economies in Australia and around the world, and he wanted to do everything he could to support confidence, and he felt that making that statement would deliver more confidence to the economy at a time where it was badly needed. Unfortunately, it's now mums and dads with mortgages paying the price for that confidence. And that's why it's good that the Treasurer has announced a review into the RBA, and that review will look at precisely this issue and deliver recommendations that could be implemented by the government later this year.
Yeah, and I interviewed the Treasurer on Monday, and he said he would like to see more accountability from both the RBA Governor and the board out of that review, so that if they give one commitment to the Australian people and then that's not delivered, there is a mechanism, a structure for accountability there. Just very quickly before I move on to Anna, Andrew, do you think he should be reappointed?
Well, the review into the RBA is underway. That will be delivered in the middle of the year.
But do you think
and it's
Phil
right
Lowe should be reappointed?
Well, it's right that the Treasurer and the Prime Minister and the Cabinet who'll be making this decision will make that decision after they receive that review and are able to have a read of the review, see what it says, and make a decision about the right leadership for the RBA at that time.
Okay. Anna, I'm sure you do have a very strong view on that, but I understand that you're not sharing it publicly. Anna, what do you think? Should the government sack Phil Lowe? Should they even wait for his term to expire in September? Should they just sack him now and appoint a new RBA governor? Because so many people have been misled and will, as Andrew just said, you know, they could potentially lose their homes, lose their businesses because of the false commitment that he gave.
Yeah, look, I'm more interested really in mums and dads and their day-to-day struggle at the moment and the anxiety they're feeling. You know, if the government came out this afternoon and said they were sacking Phil Lowe, I actually don't think that would make mums and dads feel any better because they've still got their rates going up. They're still dealing with the fallout. I'm sort of more interested in the focus being around, you know, cost of living measures right now that can help them. I think accountability measures for the RBA governor are critical. I think that's a really important conversation to have. You know, the question about sacking him, I think, is one for the government. And as I say, I think the most important thing at the moment are cost of living measures for families.
Yeah. Anna, there's a huge issue at the moment in Queensland with youth crime, and yet at the same time, Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk is relaxing drug laws, giving people, you know, 3 chances of being caught with quite hard drugs before they face any sort of prosecution. What's going on?
Look, isn't it? I mean, honestly, I think in politics, it's wise not to be surprised by too many things. But when this story broke this week, I think the people of Queensland were right to be shocked by it. You know, it was somewhat off the pace. You know, the feeling on the ground here, there is a palpable feeling that people are concerned for their safety. There is this huge youth crime epidemic. That's what people want the government talking about. They certainly don't want the government talking about the idea that people can now they can get caught with drugs. It's 4 times before you might get set to court. And I'm not talking about marijuana, you know, they're talking about hard drugs, heroin, ice, the works. You know, this is a measure that has been taken in other states around Australia, but the Queensland measures in particular are more relaxed. And as I say, I think it was incredibly off the pace. You know, the issue here in Queensland is around youth crime and the fact that people often don't feel safe even taking their rubbish out at night.
Yeah, it's shocking what's going on there. And Paul Murray had a great program on it last night. Andrew, just before we go, a question about a seat in your neck of the woods, although it's a state seat of Fairfield. Chris Bowen is reportedly pushing hard for the former AFP agent David Saliba to be pre-selected to run in the seat. This comes at the expense of a highly regarded local councillor, Carmen Lazar, who is pushing for a rank-and-file vote to pick Labor's candidate. Firstly, do you have a view on this particular stoush? And more broadly, how do you think Labor's going in the New South Wales election? Do you think Chris Minns will beat Perrottet?
Well, firstly, there hasn't been a candidate selected in that particular seat. And I know that the state party will be working closely with the branches to make sure that a fantastic candidate is selected. And my observation is that right across New South Wales, there are great candidates as part of Chris Minns' team who are really resonating on the ground, offering a fresh approach to every part of New South Wales. And it feels like there's really strong momentum after 12 years of Liberal government
Do you think they'll
for
win?
a government that is going to take a fresh approach.
Do you think Labor will win?
Look, I think they've got a really good chance. It's been 12 years. If they don't win, it'll be 16 years of Liberal government. And I suspect the electorate feels like it's time for a change.
Yeah. Anna Caldwell, Andrew Charlton, thank you both. It was great to have you with me tonight.